This is FanCastic, the fantasy book podcast where we fancast all your favorite characters from best-selling fantasy books. Hosted by me, Loretta Kincaid. I'm a former stage and screen actress, current fantasy book narrator, and Hollywood entertainment professional working in TV music. This week, I'm flying solo for another fun cast centered around the Titanic. As today is the anniversary of the Titanic, we will be fancasting The Deep by Alma Katsu. So meet me in another realm, and let's make some magic. Hello, mere mortals, and welcome to episode 6 of FanCastic. We are doing another fun cast, our second one, because today is the anniversary of the Titanic. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, Loretta, that's fucking morbid as hell. It sure is. One thing about me is I am obsessed with the tragedy of the Titanic. Can I tell you why? Not really, but it probably has to do with ghosts and spirits and being an empath and connecting and speaking with the dead. I don't know. I've been obsessed with it since I was a child. I've seen The Big Piece numerous times. I created a Titanic podcast when Caitlin Riley released a comedy video about that Titanic girl. Everyone was like, does she know you? Is she talking about you? I have a Titanic tattoo, guys, right here with the coordinates of the Titanic on it and where it lies today in the Atlantic Ocean. I do Titanic facts every year on the anniversary. I have thrown a Titanic dinner party where I had first, second, and third class and recreated the last meal that they had. I every year walk around my office at Sony and I hand something out to everybody and say, Happy Titanic anniversary. Is it happy? No. Is it a little fucked up? 100%. Can't explain it. It's who I am. And welcome to the fan cast of the Titanic horror fiction that I have read. Now, I have watched a movie called Titanic 666 that is very similar to the book I read. That movie was dog shit. It was super funny and really horrible. This book rivals that, so I can't wait to get in it with you guys. However, I do want to plug that there are some really good Titanic books out there. So if you, like me, are interested in the Titanic, one, like, subscribe, follow, comment, and get in my DMs and talk to me about the Titanic. I'll talk to you all day. Two, if you want to read some good Titanic books, I have some for you. First one is this one that's behind me, right here. It is called The Company of the Dead. It is by David J. Kowalski. I love this book. It is a good, action-packed mystery of can we save the Titanic? It was really fun. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of historical accuracy in it. It's kept me locked in. It is a very thick girl of a book. It's very good. I really liked it. That's why this one is on display. Another one that I have here is not about the Titanic, but is actually about the Queen Mary, which is here in Los Angeles, in Long Beach, and is a fucking haunted ass ship that has made me physically ill because of the spirits there. It is a hotel. They have a delicious brunch. Please go. They have really fun events. My husband and I went for Valentine's Day and got to dance where like Audrey Hepburn and stuff danced in the ballroom. I love visiting there. I will never stay there. You will never catch me on the front bow of it. Look up the Queen Mary. A lot of bad shit has happened there. But this book, Cooking for Ghosts, is about the Queen Mary and is a supernatural telling of 3 women who open a cafe on the Queen Mary, and it's haunted. And so they're cooking for ghosts. It is followed by another book about demons and another one about witches. Love it. Big fan. Non-fiction, we've got Shadow of the Titanic, which is retellings of people's experience and what happened behind the scenes and afterwards when it was all reported and when there was a court case. And then Titanic Voices, which is my favorite because one of the reasons I love the Titanic is all of the people and their stories and just the humanized aspect of it. And this is a great book that dives into a lot of it. You will cry. It's very sad. Those are my Titanic books that are in my collection. One that's not in my collection is Luck of the Titanic, which is a fiction book. I gave that to my niece. That's apparently a good YA novel. And one that I used to read all the time growing up and check out from the library was a fictionalized diary-style book called Dear America, Voyage on the Great Titanic. That book is one of the first Titanic fiction books that I read as a child, and it will always be near and dear to my heart. However, today we will be talking about the absolutely insane book that I read, The Deep by Alma Katsu, who is the author of The Hunger. I've never read The Hunger, but apparently Alma Katsu is a great author of horror and suspense. So I read this Titanic historical horror fiction, and you guys, holy shit. I'm not even going to read the synopsis of it because I don't know. I feel so misled by this book. Here's the Cliff Notes. Titanic, 1912. There is a stewardess of first class named Annie. She gets involved with a family who has a baby who just takes to her suddenly. They say, hey, our baby likes you. Now you're in charge of our baby. Fuck. Whatever else duties you have as a first class stewardess, who cares? You answer to us now. It's like this snotty, bitchy American woman named Caroline and her husband, Mark, who's like wham depressed and has a gambling addiction. Okay, that's in 1912. Then you get real people on there, like Violet Jessup. Violet Jessup was a real stewardess on the Titanic who not only survived the Titanic, but then went on to the Britannic, another ship that sank. That poor woman and her portrayal in this book pissed me the fuck off. Then we have John Jacob Astor and his wife, Madeleine Astor. Real people, actually on the Titanic, died. Then we have two Welsh boxers, really on the Titanic, that are involved in a gay relationship. Love that. We love gay. Yes, queen. Absolutely. This, however, is like, and they're gay, and we're never talking about it again. Okay, I love the inclusivity, but if you're going to do inclusivity, do it. Don't just talk about it, do it. Then there's that side story going on. Then, throughout this whole thing, there's supernatural forces at work. I was under the impression this book was going to be like, there's supernatural forces, and that's what caused this ship to go down, and it's spoopy, and like, maybe we don't know. When I tell you that this book was the craziest shit I have ever read in my whole life. I listened to the audiobook. The audiobook narrator was Jane Collingswood. She did an amazing job. I really enjoyed her voices, her dialects. So solid. I have a hard time listening to audiobooks when it's fiction. Really great when it's memoirs. Really not great when it's fiction because of the world building. I think this was easier because there's not much world building you can do with the Titanic when you know about the Titanic. You're like, sick. It's 1912. People are boarding the Titanic. Got it. Then, don't worry, guys. It doesn't just take place in 1912. It also takes place in 1916. Do you know what happened in 1916? The Britannic sank. So we got two ships that historically sank on the docket. We know what's going to happen. We don't know how it's going to happen. Sounds fun. We have characters that are set up really great. And you're like, wow, you all have a cool backstory. You're real. You're fake. Super intertwined. In 1916, we start off with Annie. She's our lead stewardess. She is in a mental institution. What? Now, I was like, okay, she's in a mental institution because she survived the sinking of the Titanic. I get it, girl, for sure. But then immediately the doctor brings her in and is like, hey, your friend sent you a letter and we may or may not have read it. And I think you should get the hell out of here because you're cured and there's nothing actually wrong with you. Go on another ship and go work with your friend. What? Violet Jessup sends her a letter and is like, I'm going to be a stewardess again on this other ship that is the sister ship to the Titanic, the Britannic. It has now been painted to be a warship. Come work on it and be a nurse. That's a good idea. Let's have her do this. So this girl goes to the ship, ends up on the ship, has no medical training, learns medical training, and then all hell breaks loose. The book is jumping between 1912 and 1916, and normally I would love that, back and forth, back and forth. Except everything that happens in 1912 is so batshit crazy that I can't take it anymore. I could really only get through maybe 5 chapters of this a day before I was having a panic attack because I was like, what is going on? Let me preface this with, I love the Titanic, as I have just said 15 minutes ago. I don't think it's a bias because of that. I don't think that I didn't like this book because I didn't. I did not like this book. I'm so sorry. It was just crazy. It could have had 20 less storylines in it and would have been better. I don't think it's because I'm attached to the Titanic and I care about respecting and honoring the Titanic. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think that the writing style of this book was lovely. I think the audiobook reading of this book was incredible. That's what kept me really going through it, is because her voice acting and narration was fantastic. What made me want to DNF this book so hard was just the plot. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Annie ends up on the ship in 1916 to yet again be on a ship when she's been institutionalized for trauma. Cool. Makes sense. Then we go back to 1912 and it starts. When Annie first starts as a first-class stewardess, she has ran away from home. She's Irish. Her family doesn't know where she is. She meets a family right away, the Fletchers, Mark, Caroline, and Odine Fletcher. Odine is a baby. Caroline is an American, sassy, bitchy, snobby, rich American. And Mark is a dude with depression and a gambling problem. She falls in love with Mark immediately. She's like, wow, your baby loves me and I love you. Then we've got Madeleine and J.J. Astor come in the picture. They have just gotten married. If you know anything about Madeleine and John Jacob Astor in real life on the Titanic, what had happened was he was married and old, and she was not married and hella young. Their relationship in real life caused so much scandal because he was recently divorced. He was 47 years old and she was 18. 29-year age difference. Yikes. So they took an extended honeymoon on the Titanic. That honeymoon extended for him for forever because he died. She was pregnant and the timeline was a little like iffy, and I think that was part of the scandal too, was like, you guys just got married and he just got divorced and you were pregnant? Okay. So they're really in there. Then there's 2 boxers, 2 Welsh boxers that I mentioned. The boxers, in addition to the gay sprinkle, because if you're going to do the gay, do the gay. We love LGBTQ representation in books. They're not there enough. Those boxers would be David Di John Bowen and Leslie Les Williams. These guys are running a scam. Les pretends to be psychic and convinces Mark, who has a gambling problem, to steal money from somebody's luggage in the luggage hold. Then Di is like, don't do that. We're lovers. Don't tell anybody. Okay. Through all the secret psychic stuff, there's a dude who can like really communicate with the dead who is like, I leave bread out for the spirits. What? Then the Astors, they have this child with them that's like, this is our little servant child. what? His name's Teddy. He dies, like, immediately. He's found dead in their room. And everyone's like, oh my God, was it the ghost? Did the ghost kill him? What do you mean? They were like, he heard a voice from the sea. Crazy. Then the baby keeps almost dying. The baby's getting poisoned by the opiate that Caroline Fletcher is like addicted to, which is found inside of her brooch, which Annie is like carrying around with her. Then the baby is suffocating at one point. So there's some fuck shit going on this ship of we're gonna almost kill the baby. And then we're gonna possess some people and make them thinking they're seeing and hearing things. Madeleine Astor lures Annie into a hot tub and tries to fucking drown her. People are doing cocaine on the Titanic. What? Annie is convinced her and Mark had this love affair throughout the whole story, and you are also, as the reader, like, yeah, this happened. Then she gets put into Titanic jail. She sees a bunch of messages come through being like, hey, y'all, there's a motherfucking iceberg. And she's like, oh, shit, I gotta bring these to the captain. So she steals the messages and she's bringing them to the captain and doing the thing. Then she gets caught and thrown in Titanic jail. And they're like, you're not doing your duties. You're stealing messages. You're trying to use the machine. You're falsifying records. Get in Titanic jail. So she's in Titanic jail, and then the Titanic hits the iceberg, so she escapes. And long story short of all the fuck shit that happens on the Titanic in the 1912 portion of this is she gets out and tries to save Caroline and the baby, but Caroline is wearing a wool coat. So she gets pulled under and drowns. Bitch, take the coat off. Give her the baby, take off your coat, climb in the lifeboat. Annie saves the baby. Apparently, if Annie wasn't thrown in Titanic jail, they would have never hit the iceberg. Just dumb shit like that. If you're gonna make this book, go crazy. If you're gonna go with the supernatural aspect of it, go for it. I was so disappointed. I was just disappointed. It was very, very hard to follow, much like this episode probably. I didn't get it. I didn't love it. There were so many times that I would be like, what? Annie's having like wet dreams about Mark to the point where she's ending up outside of his cabin door. You don't even know this man. And he is married. I can't hate this book enough. But let's try to move on. Then in 1916, when Annie sees Mark again, who ends up on her ship as a patient during the war, she's like, oh my God, do you remember me? Our love affair? And he's like, bitch, what are you talking about? We did not have a love affair. We were like flirting. That was it. Then you got crazy and you ended up in Titanic jail. And then the disaster happened. Annie's like losing it. She finds a journal. It happens to be Lillian, Mark's lover, the real mother of Odine. Are we following? I'm trying so hard, guys. She reads the whole journal and gets the full story of Caroline worked with Lillian. Lillian and Mark were together. Lillian got pregnant. They were like, what are we going to do? We can't really afford this baby. Caroline was like, I'm going to adopt the baby for you guys, and we can all raise the baby together. Okay. They all start living together, and then there's some connection between Caroline and Mark and some jealousy, and Lillian discovers a first-class ticket for the Titanic that Mark had gotten, and she believes that Mark and Caroline are going to run away together. So Lillian loses her shit, mutilates her face, and then, trigger warning, commits suicide by drowning herself in a nearby river. When in reality, Mark was never unfaithful and planned on rejecting Caroline and actually just marrying Lillian, and they were going to go together on the Titanic. That's what that ticket was for. He loses Lillian, who he loved, and resigns himself to just marrying Caroline. He was like, I was going to reject her because I don't want to be with her because I want to be with you. Oh, wait, you're dead now. I guess I'll marry her. That's fine. What a piece of shit. What a garbage man. Take out the trash. Garbage man. Okay, guys, buckle the fuck up. Annie then finishes Lillian's diary, her journal, and looks up in a mirror because she happens to be reading this, and then there's a mirror. Looks into a mirror and sees Lillian's face and is like, oh my God, her mutilated face. She freaks out. She tells Mark everything and is like, hey, I read the mother of your child, your lover that you actually really loved. I read her whole diary. I understand the story now. Here's the thing. I saw her face in a mirror. Oh, and then, don't worry, Mark. A sea witch informed me that when Lillian committed suicide, she was in the water and her spirit that went into the ether met up with the sea witch. And she made a deal with the sea witch that said, hey, if you put my soul into someone else's body, I will let you have the life of my baby daughter so I can be with my piece of shit almost husband, Mark. And the sea witch is like, hell yeah, deal. I'll kill that baby. Don't worry, guys. There's another layer of crazy. Don't worry. You want to know where Lillian's soul ended up? In Annie's body. Because this whole time, that bitch has been dead. That bitch meaning Annie, our main character, our stewardess, who was walking around the Titanic in 1912, ended up in a mental institution for 2 more years, and then is now on the Britannic talking to Mark, believing that she had a love affair with him because her body has been possessed by a spirit of a woman she had never met before. Huh? Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, when did Annie die? Well, Annie died by also killing herself after she found out she was pregnant with her Catholic priest's baby. She was having an affair. And there's really fun, weird things throughout the whole book, like someone saying, good girls go to heaven. Good girls. Yikes. Now, ladies, we love a good girl, right? From the Shadow Daddies. We love that. Not in this context. Holy shit. Huh? What? You're telling me this little hussy was fucking a priest? And the whole time you had me thinking that her dad was just like crappy and that's why she ran away from home? No? What? What is going on in this book? What is wrong with people? I don't know how this works. But Annie commits suicide. And the spirit of Lillian finds her body and possesses her body, but the body's memories have also remained, so things are overlapping, and so that's why it was like hard to discern that she wasn't really herself, Annie. So there's flashbacks of these priest things, and there's flashbacks of Lillian's life, and there's crossover, and there's thinking they had an affair because of Lillian's memories, and then the body's memories. This book is crazy. What's crazier is after Annie says, hey, Mark, this has all happened and I'm really sorry. Your baby's life has to be taken in order for Lillian to exist. Mark's like, this is insane. But then is like, I believe you. This is pretty genuine. This checks out for me. So Mark and Annie, Bonnie and Clyde, the two of them decide to sink the Britannic because that is the only way that the baby Odine, who is like 4 now, that is the only way she will be safe, is once they are both dead, because it's Lillian's spirit and Mark. I don't know why Mark has anything to do with sacrificing to save this baby. according to the sea witch, that's, a little cherry on top. Sure, take him too. But before Annie dies alongside Mark, Annie/Lillian raises the alarm for everybody else on the ship so that patients and staff can escape to survival. Don't worry. She does the right thing. She doesn't just murder everybody. She just is like, hey guys, fire alarm, and then sinks the ship. I wish I could tell you that there was more to the book. Unfortunately, there isn't. That's it. That's the book. I hated it. I want all my time and energy and emotional stock that I put into this. So the one good thing about it is it was really fun to cast. Super fun fan cast. I've always wanted to fan cast like a Titanic something because of real people. And this one had real people and then people I never knew. But this book is absolutely batshit crazy. So I cast some batshit crazy people. But I think this is actually one of my favorite casts. So let's just fucking do it. Here we go. The fun casting of The Deep. One thing about this cover is there's 3 of them. Different publications. There's like the UK, the US printed. This came out in 2005, I believe. This is a 20-year-old book. Maybe that's why it's so insane, because maybe 20 years ago, somebody wasn't like, maybe I shouldn't write this book because it's wild and insanely inappropriate to put in tandem with a historical tragedy. But sure. Let's put cocaine and possession and Catholic priest affairs. That sounds fine. I actually really love the cover of this. There's a couple other versions of it that has Annie standing on the bow of the ship and stuff. I really liked this. It looks spooky. There's the body in the water. Now, you be the judge. Is that the sea witch? Is that Lillian? Who in the water? Who's that? It looks spooky. I like that. I was really attracted to the cover. Don't judge a book by a cover. I always do. I really liked it. Unfortunately, cover was the best part. Now, Annie Hebbley, our main character, who is Irish. Who other than Saoirse Ronan? One of my favorite movies ever is Brooklyn, where she immigrates from Ireland to Brooklyn, New York. Same journey. So she's done it before. She can try to do it again. She can do it again. She survives. I love Saoirse Ronan. I know that there's other Irish actresses out there. However, I think how Annie is described, I think her character, and I think her acting all a fool, crazy, would be played so well by Saoirse Ronan. I mean, look at her. She's got like that period piece face. I think she would be an amazing Annie Hebbley as our lead. Violet Jessup. Now, in the bottom corner, you can see a real photo of the Violet Jessup. Violet Jessup, in real life, had some real bad luck. I mean, she had some real good luck because she survived 2 ship sinkings and 1 ship colliding with another ship. And then she died in the 70s. So, like, she's good. I think that she does need to be played by somebody who not only looks like her, because I like historical accuracy, but who is strong and strong-willed. And who better than Olivia Cooke, who is in House of the Dragon as a very resilient, will do what she needs to do to survive. Olivia Cooke would be perfect. She looks like her. She can play like the strong slyness. Now, I don't want this book to be turned into a movie at all. And if it does, I really hope that they do a rewrite. The fact that Violet Jessup was a real person that saved many lives and did amazing things on the Titanic. She really saved people. And when it sank, she survived. And then when she was on the Olympic and the Olympic collided with the HMS Hawk in 1911, this is before, she continued to just keep going on ships. Like, she's like, it's fine. It's all good. I don't want it to be a movie at all. However, if it is, I think Violet Jessup's character should be fixed because she is portrayed as a slutty, flirty girl who's trying to get with dudes in first class. That's not who she was. Nope. We don't have to make her more interesting. She's very interesting for the fact that she survived 3 ship disasters, all on the White Star Line ships. But I love this choice. Ah, fucking Mark Fletcher. Our gambling piece of trash. Mark is described as young, and then when she sees him in 1916, it has to be somebody who can be younger and attractive and is rich, but then later is just kind of rugged and is a man of war. And he's not a good dude. He's like kind of shitty throughout this whole book. So who else but Fabian Frankel, Mr. Christian Cole from House of the Dragon, as well as Mark Fletcher? He seems like the obvious choice. He's attractive. He's a good actor. He's the character that you're like, wow, maybe I really like this guy. And I'm like kind of rooting for them. And then you're like, oh my God, sir, you are so screwed up in the head. Speaking of screwed up in the head, Caroline Fletcher, Megan Fahey, who you will know from The Bold Type, and which I love that show. I'm so sad it was canceled. The Bold Type and The White Lotus, season 2. She just screams rich, snotty bitch who would try to steal your husband and is too dumb to take off her wool coat. And I love her. I think she's great. No notes for me. Charlie Epping. Charlie Epping is a character that's not super important to the book, but I just really liked him. He's on the ship and kind of builds a friendship with Annie, and he has these one-liners through the book that you're like, what's your deal? And I really liked him. So I cast Andrew Garfield because that's how I feel about Andrew Garfield in real life. What's his deal? Is he dating the chicken shop girl? No, he should be. This is my favorite choice. J.J. Astor. Now look at the bottom picture. That's really him. He was creepy towards younger women. You know who else is creepy towards young women? Fucking James Franco. So here's James Franco, cast as J.J. Astor. No notes for me. One thing I didn't mention, you guys, was the caliber in which Madeleine Astor and John Jacob Astor's sex life is discussed in this book. Cliff notes, John Jacob Astor can apparently fuck. Fictionally in this book. Cool. R.I.P. King. Madeleine Astor, Miss 18-year-old herself. Sophie Nelisse from Yellow Jackets. I mean, she looks just like her. I adore this actress. If you're not watching Yellow Jackets, you're crazy. I love that show. She's a great actress. She's young. She's beautiful. She can play kind of naive. And she's played pregnant before. Let's get into the Welsh boxers who are gay. Leslie Les Williams will be played by Eddie Redmayne. Look at the photos. Proof is in the pudding, guys. He's right there. He's also actually a Welsh actor. He have a bloodline. Another Welsh actor who will be playing our David Dai John Bowen is Taron Egerton. You might know him as playing Elton John. He's cute, and he looks like this boxer in the corner. I like him. And last but not least, Lillian. The crazy, mutilating face, drowning herself in a river, making a deal with a sea witch, coming back and snatching bodies of pregnant by Catholic priest girls. Lillian, played by Lily Collins, who is Phil Collins' daughter, and you know from Emily in Paris. I think she's great. No notes for me as well. And here's my full cast. They look so good. They look like they're all dressed to be on the Titanic already. I did that on purpose when I looked for their photos. Okay, that's it. I don't really have anything else to say, but I will leave you with this. The Titanic is a pop culture phenomenon in the last couple of years. Can't tell you why. I don't know. Probably because of TikTok. It's all over the place. I like that things are made from it. I like that I can read different stories that stem off of this real thing that happened. And if you're going to do that, I ask authors to please be a little bit more respectful. And the research that you do, and you want us to know that you did research on the real Titanic, maybe do a little bit better than telling us how many bottles of champagne were on the ship by throwing it in a line, or referring to the Astor's dog, which, by the way, trigger warning, they let die on the Titanic. That you're mentioning that. There's all these little sprinkles throughout the book of like Titanic fact here, real fact here, research here, that don't add anything and quite honestly took me out of it. And I was like, cool, we get it. You researched the Titanic to make this fiction book about a sea witch and cocaine and two boxers having a love affair. Should have been more of them, honestly. This book made no sense. I'm unhinged in this episode. And if you want to read something crazy that will make you scream, go ahead, pick up The Deep by Alma Katsu. Now, Alma, if this ever gets to you for some reason, because the internet will internet, respect, but this was nuts. It was a little too far for me. Okay, I'll see you next week when we are fan casting Crown of Midnight with Adara, and I will be in Vegas. Bye, friends. If you enjoyed this episode of FanCastic, let us know by leaving us a comment, liking, reviewing, and subscribing to us on YouTube, Spotify, Twitch, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, or wherever else you listen to us. And don't forget to head to our Instagram and let us know what you think of our fan casts. All fan cast graphics are listed on our Instagram, so sound off in the comments and let us know if you liked our choices, hated our choices, or have a better choice. As always, thank you for listening.